Hello, so my name is Yvette Dimiri and I am an alumnus of AISL and currently work at the intersection of media and technology. I'm very passionate about media and really growing as a product manager, which is a field that I'm really passionate about as well. AISL was probably the first place I really learned how to be on a team and how to push yourself to produce value for that team as well. And of course, working with other people. I really recall that, just being a member of the soccer team and finding out, whoa, this is something I really like and can do, and how great it feels to work towards something with other people. Also, when I was at AISL, I was president back then in 9th grade, which was the last grade when I was there. And that was incredible. It was the first time I had really taken such a leadership role. And I just remember what it felt like to have the entire school rooting for me to win when I walked in the door the day that the results were to be announced. That was extremely encouraging, and it kind of went on to shape the rest of my academic career. I went on to later be president of the high school I was in and to take up more leadership positions subsequently at university. So I currently work as a product manager, and so what that means is I meet across a bunch of different teams, trying to create the best version of a digital product that we can offer to consumers. So it's typically a lot of planning, a lot of asking the right questions, meeting with different stakeholders of the product, talking to consumers, which is one of my favorite things to do personally. Other than that, I work out pretty actively. Sometimes it'll involve table tennis here and there, and then the weekend sometimes, not in the COVID era, but going to play football with the girls team here in Lagos. So my first job was actually working as an analyst in oil and gas, so very different from where I started now. I think when I meet people who are really passionate about the work they're doing and trying to take risks, I'm always inspired by that, because especially when it comes to Nigeria, that's uncommon, and it's really not easy to get very far often in this business environment. So it takes a special sort of grit and determination. So I would say that is someone who is, I think first and foremost, just because I have experience leading a team, I come at it from a different standpoint as well. I think about someone who really sticks up for you when you make a mistake or when there is some uncertainty. I think I found that to be a really valuable moment in my career, both when I lead people and also when I'm being led. Someone who listens and someone who pushes you, and I think probably most importantly, puts your name up in the room. So when you're not there, who is the person that says, Yvette can do this, Yvette can do that, Yvette is the one for that job, Yvette has done this. So someone who puts your name, who speaks up for you in the room. First of all, I really love the opportunity, being in Nigeria, I get to be a part of different casual sports tournaments that we have. And I find myself connecting with people who perhaps maybe we were in the school at different times, or and we're just meeting now through the alumnus network. That's really exciting to me, especially because we all have common stories that we can share, and it's a great way to meet new friends as an adult, which is often quite difficult. Great question. So I had a pretty difficult time while I was in university. I would say I was applying my efforts in the wrong discipline, perhaps. So I kind of chose wrongly at the beginning, and that really set me back. I was asked to leave because my GPA was too low, and for somebody who had been, an A+ student, that was really unthinkable for me. So that was quite a formative experience. Luckily, I left for a year. I went on to another school in the UK, another university, where I was able to demonstrate performance above, around A- average, and then came back to the University of Chicago. So I think that was probably the toughest thing mentally that I've been through, just because anytime you're faced with something that questions your identity or who you think you are, you figure out pretty quickly that you need to have multiple versions of yourself. So beyond this academic person, what else is really important to me? And I realized during that period that was family. So people who believed in me at a time when I didn't believe in myself, people who would lift me up. I found that out, and I've never looked back. To me, that sort of remains the most important thing in my life. And being able to lean on them really helped me not only push through that situation, but come out the better for it. So I would say switching from oil and gas to media was tremendously challenging, just because I don't think I really knew what I wanted to do was called media. It's difficult to articulate at this point, but honestly, just being able to realize, one, that I don't think that I can be the best in the world in the current profession that I'm in. This is when I was working as an analyst in oil and gas. And then also being open to understanding what else that meant. So I just remember trying to speak with people that seemed passionate about the same things I was, and really paying attention to how they spoke about their work and trying to make sense of what it was that I wanted to do. So I think paying attention was sort of the most significant thing in that period. It's very much still in the making, but one thing I really lean on is a quote I read, some time ago, that basically says, to make the thing that you want to make takes time. And that time doesn't just magically appear. You have to steal it from comfort. So I think about that oftentimes. And I think also about, I remember listening to Serena Williams once, who said that there's no day there's some days where she wakes up and she doesn't feel like training, but there's no day that she wakes up that she doesn't feel like winning. So just remembering those things really helps me as well. So I read quite a bit of African fiction. So currently I'm reading a book called The Mechanics of Yenagoa. I'm a part of a book club here as well, so that really helps. I'm also reading another book, a Pulitzer Prize from last year, I believe, called Less, and this is fantastically written. It's a bit of like romance, it's quite funny. So yeah. Well, I listen to a lot of Afrobeats, as you can imagine. And then also, depending on the mood I'm in, I listen to some jazz. Lately I've been feeling, like a bit stuck since we can't travel anywhere. So I'll listen to some Brazilian jazz and things like that. What is my dream for Africa? This question really is great. I think what I would like to see is a situation where people in African countries are making things for the world. So many times we're just consuming products that are made by other countries, and global products that we consume. But I'd like to see a situation, and it's happening, where more Africans are creating products for the world. I think that will be the fruit of a tremendously prosperous future for the African continent.